पूर्वमिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणलिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरत्से नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीशा गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु। तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Yes. So we'll continue from the 53rd sloka. We'll just go back. Few shlokas back because it is Lord Narayana Krishna's appearance. One shloka. When this is done. Murti, a form of Shuddha Sattva, should be understood to be Shakti of manifest the Lord. Murti is mother of Narayana. Yayor Janmani Yado Vishwam Avayananda Sunirmittam Manam Shri Kapubo Vataha Shedo Sarito Draya. The appearance of Narayana in the entire world became filled of joy. Everyone's minds, all directions, the air, the rivers, and mountains became pleased. Prabhupada's translation is on the occasion of the appearance of Narayana, the entire world was full of joy. Everyone's mind became tranquil. Thus, in all directions, the air, the rivers, and mountains became pleasant. दिव्य अवद्यन्त्य तुर्यानि पेतो कुसुमा वृत्स्य पृष्ठया मुनयस्तुष्टुवस्तुष्टा जगुर्गन्धर्व किन्नर नृत्यन्ति स्म स्त्रियो दिव्या देव्या आसीत् परममङ्गलम् देवब्रह्मादयः सर्वे उपतस्तुरभिविष्टवै. Yes. So we'll go in sequence. We'll do it. We'll read five verses.
In the heavenly planets, bands began to play, and they showered flowers from the sky. The pacified sages chanted Vedic prayers. The denizens of heaven, known as the Gandharvas and Kinnaras, sang. The beautiful damsels of the heavenly planets danced, and in this way, at the time of appearance of Naranarayan, all the signs of good fortune were visible. Just at that time, great demigods like Brahma also offered their respectful prayers.
Yes. So basically, the next 10 verses only shloka and translations, except one, two purports. Deva uchu vyomaya virachitam nijayatmana nijayatmanidam ye rupam vedamiva patichakshanaya etena dharma sadane rishimurtinadhya pradukchakara purushaya namah parasmai.
The demigod said, "Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the transcendental personality of Godhead, who created as his eternal external energy this cosmic manifestation, which is situated in him as the air and clouds are situated in space, and who has now appeared in the form of Nar Narayan Rishi in the house of Dharma.
This is what has been done is, in this case, the demigods, as soon as they come, they start speaking about the Srishti Lila. What is that? We offer obeisances unto you, who created the external energy, Maya, internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy. So marginal energy, 25% of the marginal energy are somehow they desire to enjoy separately from the Lord. So they have to be sent to the Ekpada Vibhuti. And Tripada Vibhuti is spiritual world. For the Ekpada Vibhuti, Lord manifests the external energy. This is cosmic manifestation. And that is like, which is situated in him as the air, and the clouds are situated in space. So although in all of the planets, there is in the air and space is situated, but they are not inside, it's on the surface. Similarly, also Lord creates it. He is the cause of it, but he's not affected by it. That is what Prabhupada is going to speak in this purport, next purport. Yeah, he is going to speak in this purport. Please read about the universal form.
Yes, Prabhu. The universal form of the Lord is the cosmic manifestation, which is an exhibition of the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the space, there are innumerable varieties of planets and also the air, and in the air, there are variously colored clouds. And sometimes we see airplanes running from one place to another. Thus, the entire cosmic manifestation is full of variety, but actually, that variety is a manifestation of external energy of the Supreme Lord, and that energy is situated in Him. Now, the Lord Himself, after manifesting His energy, appeared within the creation of His energy, which is simultaneously one with and different from Himself, and therefore the demigods offered their respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who manifests himself in such varieties. There are some philosophers called non-dualists who, because of their impersonal conceptions, think that varieties are false. In this verse, it is specifically stated, Yo Mayai Virichitam. This indicates that the varieties are a manifestation of the energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, because the energy is non-different from the Godhead, the varieties are also factual. The material varieties may be temporary, but they are not false. They are a reflection of the spiritual varieties. Here, the word pariticakasana, there are varieties, announces the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared as Nar Narayana Rishi and who is the origin of all varieties of material nature.
Basically, according to the impersonist, especially Mayavadis, impersonal conception of life, they are like, there is nothing like, as soon as we hear about variety, they think it is material. For them, it's like everything is zero, zero, Brahma. If there is variety, it has to be under norms. But that's not the case. Even variety is there in spiritual world, which is Tripada Vibhuti. And also in the material world, when Lord comes, the variety which is manifested that in this material world, he can also manifest spiritual world. So in this case now Narayana Rishi has appeared, and his man is trying to, because as soon as Lord appears in the first canto, uh, 10th chapter, 11th chapter, when Krishna is appearing in this world, the rivers are flowing full, they are producing mines, gems, full crops are being produced, and the earth is very happy. Just like the wife is very happy when the husband is at home, she's ready to, she dresses nicely, she dresses with all ornaments, she cooks, and she's producing with full-fledged all manifestation of her speciality. She's trying to decorate the house, cook prasad and everything, feed him. Similarly, when Lord appears, the Mother Earth also with full variety. tries to please the Lord. In that variety, when Lord appears, it is completely spiritual. And when the Lord is not there, normally what variety we see, that is also fact. But it might be material because why it is temporary. It's not false. But most of the times, the impersonalists they say this variety is false, but it's not false. This is one of the there are many six system of philosophy which speaks that how everything is the atheistic philosophy, there is impersonal philosophy, there is Mayavada philosophy, and there is also Brahman, Bhagavan, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, which is Vedanta philosophy. So different philosophies are there, and the more depth of this will be in the will be studying as and when you complete your six cantos and then you start seventh and eighth canto when you come to the 10th canto. So in that there is last chapter, second chapter of the 10th canto, 87th chapter, Veda Stuti. There, these different philosophies will be discussed at length. But right now our discussion is of fourth canto, first chapter, which is just the lineage of these uh, sons of and daughters. So continuing with Prasuti and Daksh Prajapati's lineage. Soyam sthiti vetikaro pashamaya srishtan sattvena na suragana nanume tattva drashyabdada prakaruणेन vilokanena yachri niketanamamalam shipataravindam.
Let the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is understood by truly authorized Vedic literature and who has created peace and prosperity to destroy all calamities of the created world, be kind enough to bestow his glance upon the demigods. His merciful glance can perceive the beauty of the spotless lotus flower, which is the home of Goddess of Fortune.
Yes, Supreme Son of Godhead is understood by truly authorized. It can be understood only by the Vedic literature. We are going to discuss on this section today at the end. Cursing and counter cursing of Nandi and Bhrigu. So this verse is very, very important verse. Since it's one of the verse which we generally recite. Yoyam Sthiti Vetikaro Pashamaya Srishtan. Is understood by truly authorized Vedic literature and has created peace and prosperity to destroy all calamities of the created world. Be kind enough to bestow his glance upon demigods. Adabra Karuna Vilokanen. Yet Sri Niketanam Amalam Shipata Ravindam. The merciful glance can supersede the beauty of spotless lotus flower, which is the home of goddess of fortune. So that is his merciful glance. Spotless lotus flower, which is home of goddess of fortune, is very, very attractive. But Lord's smile and glance is much more supersedes the beauty of that also. Yes, bro. You can read this one part.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the origin of the cosmic manifestation, is covered by the wonderful activities of material nature. Just as outer space or the illumination of the sun and moon is sometimes covered by clouds or dust, it is very difficult to find the origin of the cosmic manifestation. Therefore, material scientists conclude that nature is the ultimate cause of all manifestation. But from Shastras or authentic literatures like Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic scriptures, we understand that behind this wonderful cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in order to maintain the regular procedure of the cosmic manifestation and to be visible to the eyes of persons who are in the mode of goodness, the Lord appears. He is the cause of creation and the dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. The demigods therefore prayed for his merciful glance upon them in order to be blessed.
Yeah. For devotees who are in mode of goodness, uh, the worship of Lord Vishnu is mentioned and therefore appears to bestow his merciful glance on them. Evam Suraganaistath Bhagavantam Vishtutau Lavo Valoperyayatu Archito Gandhamadanam. Okay, some other duty. You want to continue? Please, last you can read.
Yeah.
You can read till 60, then we'll go in the Nagma.
Okay. O Vidura, Thus, the demigods worshipped with prayers the Supreme Personality of Godhead appearing as the sage Narayana. The Lord glanced upon them with mercy and then departed for Gandhamadana hill.
Yes. So all of them appeared. Lord is appeared in there. All the demigods, apsaras, everybody is coming glorifying, and they are returning back to Gandhamadana mountain. तब विमो वै भगवतो हरेरंशो विहागतो भारव्यायया च भुवा कृष्णो यदु कुरुद्वहो. So now Maitreya Rishi is telling to Vidura, oh, same Nar Narayan Rishi. Who are they? These Nar Narayan Rishi are no one but who? Krishna and Arjun, who appeared in the dynasties of Yadu and Pur in the form of Krishna and Arjun, respectively, to mitigate the burden of the earth. That is what Maitreya Rishi is telling to. So he is quoting from Laghu Bhagavatamrit, Rahi, Chakravarti Path. Kartaru tau harer amsho nara नर नारायण ऋषि वापरन्ते कर्म भूतौ आयातो कृष्ण फाल्गुनौ. Nara Narayan is the expansion of Vishnu entered Krishna and Arjuna at the end of Thakur. Same thing Prabhupada is going to quote in his purport. Yes, please read the purport.
Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Nara is a part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narayana, thus, the energy and the energetic together are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maitreya informed Vidura that Nara, the portion of Narayan, had appeared in the family of Kurus and that Narayana, the plenary expansion of Krishna, had come as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with the purpose of delivering suffering humanity from the pangs of material burden. In other words, Narayana Rishi was now present in the world in the form of Krishna and Arjuna.
So, Prabhuji, I have a question. Were they one entity, Nar Narayan, or there were two entities?
No, Prabhupada is writing here, na? Energy, energetic. Two.
Okay, two.
Thus, the energy and energetic together are Supreme Person Godhead.
Okay.
Nara is a part
Because,
of Narayan is Supreme Person Godhead. Nara is a part of Supreme Person Godhead. Narayan.
yes.
First one.
Okay,
Yes,
because last verse says Narayan Rishi was now present in the world in the forms of Krishna and Arjuna. So,
yeah. Nara Narayan.
okay, Narayan. Okay.
Nara Narayan. So one is energy and other is energetic. Swaha Bhimanina Chagnir Atmajam Strim Ajijanat Pavakam Pavamananam Cha Suchim Cha Bhojanam. So now Agni, he got married to Swaha. Swaha Bhimananinas Chagnir. Agni's wife is Swaha. Atmajam Strim Ajijanat. They produced 6 children. Pavakam, Pavamananam, and Suchim. Bhuta Bhojana. 3 children. Pavaka Pavanam Suchi. This to by 18th oblations offered to the fire of sacrifices. Yes, who would like to read? Next 5 verse.
The predominating deity of fire begot in his wife Swaha 3 children named Pavak, Pavaman, and Shuchi, who exist by eating the oblations offered to the fire of sacrifice.
You read the purple passage.
After describing the descendants of the 13 wives of Dharma, who were all daughters of Daksha, Maitreya now describes the 14th of Daksha, Swaha, and her 3 sons. Oblations offered in the sacrificial fire are meant for the demigods, and on behalf of the demigods, the 3 sons of Agni and Swaha, namely Pavaka, Pavamana, and Shuchi, accept the oblations.
Yes. So 14 daughters description is done. 13 daughters. This 14th is coming now. First 13 were the wives of Dharma. The 14th daughter was the wife of Agni. Her name is Swaha. Basically, they accept the oblations given in sacrifices. Yogyogneya samabhavam. Tebhyogneya samabhavam. Chatvarimi shacha panchacha. त एवैकोना पंचशात् साकं पितामहे.
From those three sons, another 45 descendants were generated, who are also fire gods. The total number of fire gods is therefore 49, including the fathers and the grandfathers.
Okay, there are 49 number of fire gods, and they all, whenever sacrifice happens, this will come in the next chapter now. Whatever you're reading now, this information, we'll get the same information in further slokas. So therefore, just remember these numbers. So you'll be able to connect. Yes, read the Prabhu Mataji.
The grandfather is Agni, and the sons are Pavak, Pavamana, and Kichi.
3. Then remaining 45 are grandsons. Yes.
Plus 45 grandsons, there are altogether 49 different fire gods.
Demigods. Any sacrifice happens, these personalities they go there as demigods, and the rishis, and there is a Yajman, and in that way the sacrifice happens. So now 13 plus 1, 14, 14. Now 15th daughter. Vaitanike karmaniyan namabir brahmavadibi agneya ishtayo yadne nirupyante agneyastute.
These 49 fire
Hmm.
the series of the oblations offered in the Vedic sacrificial fire by impersonalist Brahmanas.
Yeah, same persons they have a yagya, and their main yagya of the Agni, they offer the Agni sacrifice. That is, they invite these 49 demigods. That's what Prabhupada writes here. Read Mataji.
Personalists who perform Vedic fruitive sacrifices are attracted to the various fire gods and offer oblations in their name. The 49 fire gods are described here.
So this is like 14 daughters only described. Now the 15th daughter. Agnishvata Barhishada Saumya Pitara Ajyapa Sagnayo Anagnayastesha Patni Dakshayani Svada. Yes.
Agnishvatas, the Varvishas, the Saumyas, and the Ajyapas are the Pitas. They are either Sagnika or Niragnika. The wife of all these Pitas is Swadha, who is the daughter of Pinda.
13, 14, 15 daughter. Evyo dadare kanyedve vayunana darinim svada ubete brahmavadinyo jnana vijnana parage.
Swadha, who was offered to the Pitas, begot two daughters named Vayuna and Dharini, both of whom were impersonalists and were experts in transcendental and Vedic knowledge.
One minute. The climax is coming now, which is going to connect us to the next chapter. So now 15 daughters are done. 16th. Bhavasya patnitu sati bhavam devam manuvrata atmanaha sadrasya putram naleve gunashilataha. Bhavasya is Shiva. Bhavasya patnitu sati. Lord Shiva's wife was Sati. What happened? Naleve gunashilataha atmana sadrasham putram. She could not produce child. That becomes a question for Vidura. What is the reason she could not produce child? Answer comes, she had to prematurely die before producing child. Then what was the reason for her death? That is next chapter.
The 16th daughter, whose name was Sati, was the wife of Lord Shiva. She could not produce a child, although she was always faithfully engaged in the service of her husband.
Yes. So now, Pitari apratirupesve bhava ayanagase surusha apraudavatmanatmanam ajahad yoga samyuta. So before becoming mature enough to produce a child, she left her body because of his father-in-law rebuked Lord Shiva, although is having no fault. Pitari aprati rupesve bhavaya nagase rusha. Bhavaya is Lord Shiva. Anagase. Anaga mat fault. Anagase. This is Anaga is faultless. Rusha with anger. Who? Pitari, father. apratirupe, unfavorably. Aprauda, before attaining maturity. Eva atmana, atmanam ajahata yoga samyuta. By mystic fire, she left her body before she could become mature to produce a child because of her father rebuking her faultless husband, Lord Shiva.
The reason is that Sati's father Daksha used to rebuke Lord Shiva in spite of Shiva's faultlessness. Consequently, before attaining a mature age, Sati gave up her body by dint of yogic mystic powers.
Yes. This is what Chakravarti was mentioned. This gives the reason for not producing a son. Her father was unfavorable to faultless Shiva by showing anger. What one? Prabhupada writes about it. Yes, mother, please read Prabhupada's purport.
Lord Shiva, being the head of all mystic yogis, never even constructed a home for his residence. Sati was the daughter of a great king Daksha, and because his youngest daughter Sati selected as her husband Lord Shiva, King Daksha was not very much satisfied with her. Therefore, whenever she met her father, he unnecessarily criticized her husband, although Lord Shiva was faultless. Because of this, before attaining a mature age, Sati gave up her body given by her father Daksha, and therefore she could not produce a child.
Okay. Basically, Daksha wanted, because Daksha was little envious of Lord Shiva, and her daughter was married to Lord Shiva, and because of that connection, he was always finding fault with Lord Shiva. Although Lord Shiva is superior because he was one of the great demigods. Apart from Brahma, next is Lord Shiva. But Daksha was expecting that respect from him like a son-in-law. And already there was envy in him present. And that became a reason for their quarrel. And that is because of that reason, Shati had to give up her body. And therefore, she could not produce a child. So we end here the fourth canto first chapter. Genealogical table of daughters of Manu. So this is like, we have seen the whole thing. In that we got to know that Prasuti and Daksha's daughter Sati could not produce a child. So that is next chapter. And what are Daksha and Lord Shiva's? Daksha is trying to trying to curse Lord Shiva, or dissent between Daksha and Lord Shiva, and how what happens because of that, what has happened in the history, that we are going to see now. Next chapter.
Roji, I have a quick question here. Like we hear from Brahma, Swayambhava Manu is born. So then, who is Daksha? Like, what is his lineage? Daksha is relationship.
You are asking about this Swayambhava Manu.
We are
Swayambhava Manu's daughter.
daughters are.
There are like some, like, when Swayambhava Manu was born, like Brahma is born. So Brahma, Brahmaputras, there is Lord Narada, and then there is Brahma's, even Lord Shiva also appeared from Brahma's eyebrows when Kumara did not produce, when did not agree to get married. So Brahma is producing some children from his mind, from his eyebrows, from his heart, and Manu and Satrupa appeared from his chest. So basically, his whole thing is he has to do secondary creation, and Manu and Satrupa are going to help him. So Manu and Satrupa, they are producing three: Asuti, Prasuti, Devuti, and Priyat Uttanapad. Now they have to marry also with someone. So there is they are getting married with Prajapatis. And this Prajapatis, now who produced them?
Yes.
From Brahma. They also appeared from Brahma.
Oh, directly from Brahma. Oh, okay.
So now continue with our section. Daksha curses Lord Shiva. Because now Vidura has heard from Maitreya Rishi, that she left her body. So he has a question in first 3 verses. So this second chapter has only 3 parts. First 3 verses, Vidura is asking to Maitreya, it is hard for me to believe that Daksha hated Lord Shiva, because Daksha is Duhitra Vatsala. He is and Lord Shiva is Silavatam Shreshta. And Lord Shiva is Chara Chara Guru. And Lord Shiva is Nirvaira, Shant Vigraha, Atmaram, and Jagato Daivatam Mat. So first 1-2 verses. So Duhitra Vatsala matlab is very affectionate to his daughter. When a husband, father is affectionate to a daughter, then he will deal with his son-in-law very nicely. Because of him, the daughter should not die. And Lord Shiva is by default having all these qualities. He is like Atma, Ramchara, Chara Guru. Then what is the reason for their Daksha hitting Lord Shiva, and what is the reason because of which uh, they have fought so much, and because of that, daughter had to die, our wife had to die? That is first three verses. Please speak about the history, and then that yajna starts. 1,000 year sacrifice meant for pleasing Lord Vishnu. That is starting. So Viduro Vacha Bhave Shilavatam Shreshta Daksho Duhitra Vatsala Vidvesham Makarato Kashmad Anadryatma Anadrityatmajam Satim. Yes, someone would like to read next 5 verses.
May I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, please read.
Thank you, Prabhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vidura inquired, why was Daksha, who was so affectionate towards his daughter, envious of Lord Shiva, who is the best among the gentle? Why did he neglect his daughter Sati?
Yes. So here, Chakravarti mentions, you can read this, what second chapter speaks about. Please forward.
Purport.
In the second chapter.
In the second chapter of the fourth canto, the cause of dissension.
This progress.
Okay. Okay.
Chakravarti purport.
In the second chapter, when Daksha departs in anger after heavily criticizing Shiva, Nandishwara, and Bhrigu, fight with curses as weapons. Because Shiva was well behaved, and even though Daksha didn't have affection for him, because Daksha had affection for his daughter, he did not have shown hatred to Shiva.
Yeah. Duhitra Vatsala, that is the meaning of Duhitra Vatsala. Yes, and what Rupa speaks, same thing. Yes, you can read what Rupa speaks.
Purport. In the second chapter of the fourth canto, the cause of dissension between Lord Shiva and Daksha, which was due to a great sacrifice arranged by Daksha for the pacification of the entire universe, is explained. Lord Shiva is described here as the best of the gentle because he is not envious of anyone. He is equal to all living entities, and all other good qualities are present in his personality. The word Shiva means all auspicious. No one can be an enemy of Lord Shiva's, for he is so peaceful and renounced that he does not even construct a house for his residence, but lives underneath a tree, always detached from all worldly things. The personality of Lord symbolizes the best of gentleness. Then why then was Daksha, who offered his beloved daughter to such a gentle personality, inimical towards Lord Shiva, so intentionally that Sati, the daughter of Daksha and wife of Lord Shiva, gave up her body?
Yeah. All these things were discussed in chapter 9. Daksha will only speak from his mouth when he is trying to curse Lord Shiva. As the title of the chapter is what? Curses Lord Shiva. While cursing, he will try to speak all these things. What the question Prabhupada is writing here? Why? What is the reason for him to hate Lord Shiva so much that Sati had to die? Kastam chara gurum nirvairam shanta vigraham atmaramam katam veshti jagato daivatam mahat. Lord Shiva's further qualities are described in the second verse.
Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the entire world, is free from enmity. He is a peaceful personality and is always satisfied in himself. He is the greatest among the demigods. How is it possible that Daksha could be inimical towards such an auspicious personality? Purport. Lord Shiva is described here as Charachara Guru, the spiritual master of all the animate and inanimate objects. He is sometimes known as Bhutanath, which means the worshipable deity of the dull-headed. Bhuta is also sometimes taken to indicate the ghost. Lord Shiva takes charge of reforming persons who are ghosts and demons, not to speak of others who are godly. Therefore, he is the spiritual master of everyone, both the dull and demonic, and the highly learned Vaishnavas. It is also stated, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambho. Shambhu, Lord Shiva, is the greatest of all Vaishnavas. On one hand, he is worshipable object of the dull demons, and on the other hand, he is the best of the Vaishnavas or devotees. And he has a sampradaya called the Rudra Sampradaya. Even if he is an enemy or is sometimes angry, Such a personality cannot be the object of envy. So Vidura, in astonishment, asked why he is taken as such, specially by Daksha. Daksha is also not an ordinary person. He is Prajapati, in charge of the fathering population, and all his daughters are highly elevated, especially Sati. The word Sati means the most chaste. Whenever there is a consideration of chastity, Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva and daughter of Daksha, is considered first. Vidura therefore was astonished. Daksha is such a great man, he thought, and is the father of Sati. And Lord Shiva is the spiritual master of everyone. How then could there possibly so much enmity between them that Sati, the most chaste goddesses, would give up her body because of their quarrel?
What Prabhupada is speaking here, Chakurutpa is mentioning the seed of this in his commentary. See carefully here, I have underlined in. So Chakurutpa is saying, this verse gives the reason why Shiva should not have no enemies. Ka can mean who, or it can mean Daksha. How could Daksha show hatred to Shiva? Basically, Prabhupada is giving, if a guru is there, and sometimes guru becomes angry, or he's chastising his disciple, and sometimes that disturbance is seen by the body. So if externally the guru shows enmity or disturbed body, one should not still hate him. Do not even consider other qualities. Because guru is whatever anger or whatever disturbance of body or whatever he is trying to, from his side, there is some apparent so-called fault appearing for a disciple, that is for the welfare of the disciple. So since Shiva is a guru for the whole world, the presiding deity of the world, how was it possible Daksha could show hatred since Daksha was living within this universe under Shiva? So Daksha is subordinate, and even if there was some fault, apparent fault or something, Daksha should not say that. That is the principle we mentioned here. That is what Prabhupada is writing here. He is Vaishnava, Navata, Shambhu, he is Bhutanath, he is a originator of Rudra Sampada. Even if he does something to someone and somebody becomes his enemy, sometimes such a personality cannot be the object of envy. This is the principle which Vidura is trying to ask, that he should not be envied, he should not be hated. Subordinate, Daksha being subordinate should accept it. But what happened to that this hatred triggered to such an extent that Duitra Vatsala also is very much dear to his daughter. Daughter is very much dear to him, that she had to die because of burning by her own mystic fire. All these things, please explain. Etad akyahi me brahman janmatu swashu rasyacha vidveshatu yata pranams tattejai tustejan sati. Yes, please read. My dear Maitreya.
Sorry, Chukurmud झालं तो. Why, dear Maitreya, to part with one's life is very difficult. Would you kindly explain to me how such a son-in-law and father-in-law would quarrel so bitterly that the great goddess Sati could give up her life?
Yes. So now Maitreya starts telling the history of this yajna. Maitreya vacha pura vishwa sujam satre sameta paramarshaya tatamara gana sarve sanugamana yognaya.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Hmm.
This Vidura is asking this question to Maitreya. So certainly it is for our benefit, but it is also that some things are not known to this exalted devotee and they wanted to know.
Actually, this Maitreya Rishi is narrating, because Maitreya Rishi met Lord Krishna when Lord Krishna was speaking to him about the Brahma Sthiti. The knowledge, Lord Krishna is departing back to Godhead. That time there was Maitreya Rishi, and along with them was Uddhava. And that Uddhava, he gives the knowledge of this Bhagavatam to Uddhava, and which Maitreya Rishi is hearing. And that is called as Brahma Sthiti. And he's giving this knowledge so that he can go and narrate it to Narayana Rishi Badrikashram.
Oh.
So he meets, and Vidura meets Uddhava there, and he tells, I know I'm younger to you. You can hear this knowledge from Maitreya, who is also in his senior too, and he also heard it from same Lord. And therefore, this knowledge, which now Maitreya Rishi is narrating, this he has heard from Lord Krishna, all these pastimes, and he's explaining it to Vidura. Therefore, Vidura is inquisitive. Vidura is hearing it for the first time from Bhagavatam.
There was some Mataji raised.
Yes.
She raised her hand.
Ouja Mataji. Yes, please.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, am I audible?
Audible.
Yes, Prabhuji, I have a question from the second text actually. Prabhuji, earlier we read Chaitya Guru, Krishna is called as sometimes Chaitya Guru. And here we read Charachar Guru. So, Prabhuji, what's the difference between both?
Okay, Chaitya Guru and Charachar Guru. Chaitya Guru is he's a super soul in his heart. Yesterday we were doing this thing of Atri Rishi trying to call Jagdishwara, and he was not clear about who is supreme. That time Lord Krishna was a super soul in his heart, like Suradaksha Vishnu. He gave the intimation to Brahma and Lord Shiva, and all of them came together there. Charachara Guru means Lord Shiva, he has a post of a Lokapala as a demigod. At the same time, he is the local guardian of all the living entities in this material world. Basically, he and Durga Devi are Parvati. They are the mother and father of the bodies. And in that way, those living entities, goodness, they are guided by Lord Vishnu. In the sense that he is like maintainer of Lord Vishnu is the mentor of the goodness. And Brahma, he takes care of the passion. And ignorance, the living entities who cannot be handled, Lord Shiva takes care of them. So in this case, when Charachara Guru is being told that, by default, Lord Shiva takes that position of taking care of the mode of ignorance people, and also is the originator of Rudra Sampradaya, and also is Vaishnavana Metashambhu. So he is having the post of beginning, is originator of one of the Sampradaya called Rudra Sampradaya. Prabhupada is writing the purport. And second, he is best of the Vaishnavas. And third, is also Bhutanath. So in that way, he has a capacity of guiding everybody in this material world. Therefore, he is Charachara Guru.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhuji.
Next. Yes, Prabhuji, I think we should read this purport.
Yes.
Upon being asked.
Prabhuji, I have not read the
Translation. Yes, please read.
The sage Maitreya said, in a former time, the leaders of the universal creation performed a great sacrifice in which all the great sages, philosophers, demigods, and fire gods assembled with their followers. Purport: upon being asked by Vidura, the sage Maitreya began to explain the cause of the misunderstanding between Lord Shiva and Daksha, because of which the goddess Sati gave up her body. Thus begins the history of a great sacrifice performed by the leaders of the universal creation, namely Marichi, Daksha, and Vashishta. These great personalities arranged for a great sacrifice, for which demigods like Indra and fire gods assembled with their followers. Lord Brahma and Shiva were also present.
So who arranged it? These three personalities, Marishi, Daksha, and Vasishta. Who were invited? Who are the personalities who are attended? Just now is read. Fire gods, 49. One father, three children, and 45 grandchildren. All of them came. And also there was Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, who were among the main. And it was meant for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Sacrifice. Great sacrifice for the benefit of people of this universe.
So, Prabhu, one thing I can see that here Daksha, and in the previous verse also, where these three forms were obtained, Dattatreya and other places. So they are doing so much meditation, they are into so much of scripture understanding, but still they don't know who is the supreme personality of Godhead. Huh?
Yes.
Which means one can be a yogic person or a Brahman or a Rishi and can do austerities and tapasya, but still the supreme knowledge, what we are hardcore sensitive fire in Kali Yuga, but with some years of our explanation by Guru Sadhu Vaishnavas, we know Krishna is supreme person of Godhead, but it has come from Vishnu. But I mean to say, we are not, I'm not uh, what do you say, offending anyone. But my point is that to know the Supreme Lord is rare actually.
Yes, very rare. Not rare, very, 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 very rare. It's because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, we are understanding Krishna's supremacy. Otherwise, to understand Krishna's supremacy also is not easy. We may accept Vishnu or Narayan, but because of यदि गौर ना होते तभी की होते.
Yeah.
And after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, again there is all this parampara and then Prabhupada.
Yeah, great.
So that is our glory. So it's like bhaktya hi ananya shakya. So it's very, very rare. Only by bhakti Lord can reveal us in Guru Shishya Parampara. That is a reason in 10th canto in Veda Stuti. There is so much of Vedas, they themselves are glorifying, telling that if the yogis who go to control their senses by Ashtanga Yoga, even they may fail to control the mind and senses. But a Vaishnava who accepts Diksha in a Guru Shishya Parampara, just by following the orders of the Guru, he can completely control his senses and he can realize Lord in his heart. So Bhakti, the glory of Bhakti versus Jnana, Ashtanga and Karma. So this is mercy of Guru Shishya Parampara. That is what we should understand.
And I think we don't deserve this. We don't deserve this, but I think, got just out of costless mercy we got this. What is our
Yes.
karma? We have not done previously great sadhana or something, or not even now also, but still we know the highest truth, absolute truth. Maybe we are still not following that in a pure form. That is our limitation practically.
That is what Prabhupada says, na? I created your good fortune.
Yeah.
One disciple asked Prabhupada, what is your fortune? I created your good fortune. So it's very rare to understand Krishna's supremacy, especially. It's very rare. You can come to some extent to understand which Lord Vishnu's supremacy. That is also very, very rare.
Yeah. I was amazed in the previous chapter. We said that a rishi did and they got Supreme Lord, all the three, and they're saying we don't know who of you are the Supreme Lord. So I pray to you. So, I thought maybe they are doing some pastime, but I understood that this is not pastime. Probably whatever sadhana they did, with whatever guidance they did, they got a basic understanding that these are the three murtis and the three objects of creation, maintenance, and sustenance. So like that. Yes.
So the participants of sacrifice are mentioned here in this verse, 5th verse. Tatra pravishtam rishayo drushvarkam iva rocisha Rajamanam viti miram purvantam tanmahat sada.
Translation: when Daksha, the leader of Prajapatis, entered that assembly, his personal bodily luster as bright as the effulgence of the sun, the entire assembly was illuminated, and all the assembled personalities became insignificant in his presence.
This is the cause. This was the cause of Daksha's expectation, because he was so effulgent. His effulgence is glorified like the effulgence of sun. Everybody except Lord Brahma got up, and except Lord Shiva. And that was the problem. Everybody respected me seeing my effulgence, even all the fire gods got up. Why this Lord Shiva, why is this Shiva, who is my son-in-law, is not getting up? That's it. That was the only reason for his becoming, he lost his composure because of that. So if you want to give respect, we can give respect to anyone. But if you want to expect one respect, if one person doesn't respect us, then that becomes the cause of frustration. Yes, true.
My point here is that, bro, here Lord Shiva is not there as his son-in-law. He is one of the demigods and the representative of the universe. So why should he get up? That's my feeling.
He should not get up. I'm also not telling that he should get up. I'm telling from Daksha's expectation. You're understanding now what Daksha is expecting. So he is not getting it. That is what you are telling. That is what Prabhupada is writing in the purport. Shiva is not a subordinate. Prabhupada brings it. He is one of the Lokapalas and he is Charachara Guru. He doesn't need to get up, but Daksha is envious of Lord Shiva before only. He is not
So
ready to
he,
give.
so he even doesn't know that Lord Shiva is one of the principal demigods?
I don't know how it is because pride comes before fall. You read this now when you're reading this translation, Daksha, the leader of Prajapati, entered the assembly. His personal body luster as bright as effulgence of sun. See now, he's getting so much respect from others. He's becoming proud because of that. He's expecting, he's expecting what to speak of Lord Shiva. Even Brahma is chastising. Because of Brahma, I gave my daughter to this useless Shiva.
Yeah.
So that means, and he leaves the whole assembly. This assembly is not fit for me. That is pride comes before fall. So whenever somebody gets some strength, whenever somebody is doing some miraculous Herculean task, accomplishments, if his legs are not on ground when his head is in sky, then it's obviously is going to offend not only people who are under him, also superiors above him. That is example, this shloka. Therefore, why I'm telling this verse? Because of his effulgence, everybody got up. But this effulgence is not internal effulgence. It's external effulgence. If he was internal effulgence is what Vidya Vinaya Shobhate. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmani ki Vestini Shuni Chaiva Supakecha Pandita Samadarshina. You will see everyone as part and parcel of Lord and give them equal respect according to their what they are. This verse Prabhupada specifically mentions in case of Lord Shiva. In the end of this chapter, when Shiva's description comes, he is equipoised, calm, composed, mentions. He is seeing equipoised. But here, this effulgence, this kind of knowledge, this is external accomplishment, one gets name, fame. That is what this is. And because of that, he's getting respect from others. And expecting that even my father, Brahma, and even Shiva, who is my son-in-law, will get up. So Brahma doesn't get up. Brahma just acknowledges him by smile and he goes and welcomes him. He goes and takes his permission. But Shiva is like sitting completely absorbed in remembering Hari. That becomes a cause for his curse. Udatishtan sadasyaste swadishnebhya sahagnaya rite virincham sarvam cha tadvashakshipta chetasa. So Virinchi, except Virinchi, everyone got up. Tadvashakshiptam chetasa. Virinchi is Brahma and Lord Shiva.
So you have read 5 shlokas. I think someone else can read.
Yes. This fifth, na? Fifth is remaining. Oh, sixth is, yes, someone else can read.
Influenced by his personal bodily luster, all the fire gods and other participants in that great assembly, with the exceptions of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, gave up their own sitting places and stood in respect for Daksha.
TadasaspratiBir daksho bhagavan sadhu satakrita ajam loka gurum natva nishashadatat adnaya. So now,
Daksha was,
yes, please read about that.
Daksha was adequately welcomed by the president of great assembly, Lord Brahma. After offering Lord Brahma respect, Daksha, by the order of Brahma, properly took his seat.
So basically, Daksha was acknowledged by Brahma sitting in his seat, and then Daksha went and welcomed. Brahma sat in a seat only and just smiled at him, and Daksha went and took his permission before taking his seat. So now, when he's taking his seat, he's seeing on the right side someone whom he is not very happy with. Pranishanam mridam drishtva namrasyat anadrita uvacha vamam chakshurbyam abhiviksha dahan iva. He's going to burn with his eyes. Dahanam iva. Vamam matlab not very pleasing words. Yes.
Before taking his seat, however, Daksha was very much offended to see Lord Shiva sitting and not showing him any respect. At that time, Daksha became greatly angry and his eyes glowing. He began to speak very strongly against Lord Shiva.
Can read the perfect number.
Okay. Lord Shiva, being the son-in-law of Daksha, was expected to show his father-in-law respect by standing with the others. But because Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are the principal demigods, their positions are greater than Daksha's. Daksha, however, could not tolerate this, and he took it as an insult by his son-in-law. Previously also, he was not very much satisfied with Lord Shiva, for Shiva looked very poor and was niggardly in dress.
Basically, Daksha's thing was he was seeing externally. He was not seeing internally. Basically, he was a big king and his opulence and all those things. But Lord Shiva is like Avdut. He has no home. He's dressing. And because of all these things, before only that seed of envy was there. And just because Brahma told him, get your daughter married, therefore he got her married. But now, because of some other, basically, fault is not outside. Fault is inside. When Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj tell when someone is trying to see fault in others, one is honeycombed with faults. And even so many art of saying good in others, there's so many seminars which are conducted by outside people also, in corporate circle, other circle, management circle. Because this trying to show good in others is not so easy. Even people who are not very Krishna conscious or devotional, who don't believe in God and soul, even their theory is that when a person is not satisfied inside, he tries to see it's outside that fault. And because of the problem starts. So here also, Lord Shiva, whatever he is Atmaram, he is Charachar Guru. But because of the person is having envy, seed of envy, he is trying to see that in Lord Shiva. Yes, Ramakrishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, it seems quite, amazing that even if a very simple person like us, we can understand Lord Shiva's, greatness. But this Daksha became covered over by Maya, and he cannot see that. So, can we say that, no matter what position you are in, the Maya Shakti of the Lord can cover up anybody, and then he will not be able to see right and do mistakes and then fall down.
Yeah, when you're speaking about Maya Shakti, it's basically he was proud. There are 6 avatars, Kama, Krodha, Mada, Lobha. It was pride.
Yes, Prabhuji. And then anytime pride comes, then the material energy will take its toll.
Yes, Prabhupada is going to see. Actually, Prabhupada is writing further purports that Daksha was anger because he's even chastising Brahma. Chastising Brahma means he's not telling his father, he's saying Paramishd him. His Paramishd him. He gave me the advice of getting my daughter married. And he's telling him, wait, Shiva, Shiva is just silent. All others are telling, and he gets up and goes in anger. This is Asat Saban. So there, Prabhupada mentions anger. And anger will exist. Where there is anger, there is lust and greed also, passion also. And because of this, these are 3 doors to hell. And Daksha was servant of this. And he had to face the consequence.
Thank you.
Yeah. And there Prabhupada writes, not only there, also when Nandi and Bhrugo are cursing, counter cursing, this is a field of material world. Somebody who is not very strong spiritually, they will get into this cursing of counter cursing. And then they will degrade. This is what Prabhupada writes there also. Yeah, material world is a place which is by default there's passion, ignorance, and goodness. And surely goodness will degrade if somebody is not very careful. It's not very difficult to degrade from goodness to passion and ignorance. And wherever there's passion, ignorance, there's counter cursing. And then this is the whole chapter speaks about it. Yes. Shruyatam Brahma Rishyo me Sahadeva Sahagnaya Sadhunam Bruto Vrittam Nadmyanan Nacha Matsarat.
All sages, brahmanas, and fire gods present, please hear me with attention, for I speak about the manners of gentle persons. I do not speak out of ignorance or envy.
Yeah, so now Daksha what is saying? He's seeing Shiva not getting up. He's not even smiling. He's absorbed in remembrance of Lord Vishnu. And he's trying to tell because he has not seen me, he's not got up, and he's not even acknowledging me, and he's not even speaking good words. Therefore, this is not manners. But I'm not envious, but actually he's envious. But he's trying to very materially in polished way, trying to speak it in that way. That what Prabhupada says in speaking against Lord Shiva. And then you can read the purport. Prabhupada mentions it.
Yes, Prabhuji. In speaking against Lord Shiva, Daksha tried to pacify the assembly by presenting in a very tactful way that he was going to speak about the manners of gentle persons. Although naturally this might affect some unmannerly upstairs, and assembly might be unhappy because they did not want even unmannerly persons to be offended. In other words, he was in a complete knowledge that he was speaking against Lord Shiva in spite of Shiva's spotless character. As far as envy is concerned, from the very beginning, he was envious of Lord Shiva. Therefore, he could not distinguish his own particular envy. Although he spoke like a man in ignorance, he wanted to cover his statements by saying that he was not speaking for impudent and envious reasons.
Yes. The solution which comes in the fourth canto. In this canto, it will come in 8th chapter. When Dhruva is going to for tapasya, there normally says, Puna Dikam Udam Lipset. How to deal with people of different grade. With juniors, you be compassionate. With equals, you have friendship. With superiors, you have loving respect. On the other hand, for juniors, we deride. With equals, we compete. And in seniors, we become envious. So that shloka speaks the solution for it. How to overcome envy at all levels. Normally gives this there. Be happy with all. Ayam tu lokapalanam yashogno nirapatrapa Shadbir acharita panta yena stabdena dushita.
Shiva has spoiled the name and fame of governors of universe and has polluted the path of gentle manners. Because he is shameless, he does not know how to act.
Lord Shiva is not doing anything. He's just composed, calm, and everything. And seeing that, after telling all these things, he tells Shiva will get up and become enraged. Nothing. Shiva sits, Lord Shiva is sitting as if he has no hostility, no enemy. He's undisturbed. Seeing that, he becomes even more, his anger goes, it's like volcanic eruption. And he goes telling this Brahma, because of this Brahma, I got my daughter married to him, and he tells it's not a fit place, and he goes away. After everybody's convincing him. So he's trying his best to bring down Lord Shiva's position, but Lord Shiva is undisturbed. Purport.
Yes. Daksha wanted to impress upon the minds of all great sages assembled in that meeting that Shiva, being one of the demigods, had ruined the good reputations of all demigods by his unmannerly behavior. The words used against Lord Shiva by Daksha can also be understood in a different way, in a good sense. For example, he started that Shiva is Yashogna, which means one who spoils name and fame. So this can also be interpreted to mean that he was so famous that his fame killed all other fame. Again, Daksha used the word nirapatrapa, nirapatrapa, which also can be used in two senses. One sense is one who is stunted, and another sense is one who is the maintainer of persons who have no other shelter. Generally, Lord Shiva is known as the Lord of Bhutas or lower grade of living creatures. They take shelter of Lord Shiva because he is very kind to everyone and is very quickly satisfied. Therefore, he is called Ashutosh. To such men who cannot approach other demigods or Vishnu, Lord Shiva gives shelter. Therefore, the word Nirapatrapa can be used in that sense.
Yes. So this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is given his commentary, that here Daksha is chastising. He is angrily trying to speak ill about Lord Shiva. But here he writes, by unsteadiness of one person, among many of equal status, people criticize all. However, by the skill of Saraswati, Daksha's words have another meaning, praising Shiva, like you heard Yashognya. He is not without fame, but he kills the fame of others. Then Nirapatrapa, he is shameless, but he gives shelter to those who have no shelter. And also, the path of followed by well-mannered is spoiled by destruction. Vashtena, by the demons. Another version has Tabdena. He is without shame because the path followed by well-mannered is spoiled by the best of the proud. So these are all, one word is speaking about the ill consequences. Basically, it is targeted to blaspheme Lord Shiva. But each word, like even Varadev is fighting with Hiranyaksha. There also he's trying to chastise, speak ill about uh, Varaha. But each and every word, Vishwan Chakruri Thakur tells that Saraswati, according to these words, this is glorification of Lord Varaha. Similarly, each and every word which is a blasphemy here, the acharyas bring out. This is not a blasphemy, it is this good quality. The word, that means if one wants to see some glorious thing, one can take a gold even from a dustbin and use it. Rather than here, there is a gold already in front of you, but that gold is seeing has been seen as some dirty matter. So that is a person's vision how it is. Because of envy, because of lust, anarthas, he is not able to see the glorious person of Lord Shiva. Esha me shishyatam prapto, yena me duvitrur agrahit, panim vipragni mukata, savitrya iva sadhuvat. Somebody else would like to read now? 11 onwards.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. He has already accepted himself as my subordinate by marrying my daughter in the presence of fire and Brahmanas. He has married my daughter, who is equal to Gayatri, and has pretended to be just like an honest person.
So basically, he's trying to tell. Yes, purport. You can read directly.
Okay, purport. Daksha's statement that Lord Shiva pretended to be an honest person means that Shiva was dishonest because, in spite of accepting the position of Daksha's son-in-law, he was not respectful to Daksha.
That is what he's saying. He's not seeing him as a Lokapala next to Brahma. What he's saying is, my son-in-law, he should respect me. Therefore, he's dishonest. So this will happen to anyone if he is not very careful and he offends, or he is very much after respect, name, fame, accomplishment, and is not having a proper dealing with any of the Vaishnavas. This can happen with anyone in this world. So that is the reason by reading these pastimes, we should understand what should be our mood. When our head are in clouds, our feet should be always on the earth, so that such things will not happen. Dritva mragasva savakshaya panim markatalochana pratyuttana vadarehe vachapi akritanochitam. He's telling, oh, you are like a monkey-eyed, but my daughter is like deer-eyed, and I have given you the hand of my daughter. And even if you can't stand up, can't you even speak some sweet words? Vachapi akritanochitam. That is what he's telling.
Translation. He has eyes like a monkey's, yet he has married my daughter, whose eyes are just like those of a deer cub. Nevertheless, he didn't stand up to receive me, nor did he think it fit to welcome me with sweet words.
Yes. Yeah. Here, Chakravarti Bhatt speaks about this monkey-eyed. He speaks here. He did not even respect with sweet word his father-in-law, who deserves that someone rises from his seat and presses him. The other meaning is as follows: seeing mercifully materialists who are like monkeys, he grants their desires. So Markata, Lochana matlab, Markat is here is trying to indicate the materialist. Lochana matlab mercifully grants their desires. And unfortunately, I have not properly respected with words such a person who deserves that I rise and speak politely. This is how Chakravarti was telling. So this is how when Marakata, Lochana matlab, Lord Shiva is not monkey-eyed, Daksha. He's telling he's Rasika Acharya. Daksha is telling he is a Lord who even fulfills the desires of monkey-eyed people. So I should get up and respect him, but I have not done it. It's my unfortune. Lupta kriyaya suchaye manine binnase tave anichan api adam balam shudrayevo satim giram.
Translation. I had no desire to give my daughter to this person who has broken all the rules of civility. Because of not observing the required rules and regulations. He is impure, but I was obliged to hand over my daughter to him, just as one teaches the messages of the Vedas to a Shudra.
Basically, nobody teaches Vedas to Shudra, even Lord Ram's time. Basically, they will misuse it like a terrorist. In the olden days, that was the reason that is not taught to them. Because somebody, what is the meaning of Shudra means? It's not the birth, it's not the caste. Basically, who is in goodness, who is able to control his senses. And the Vedic mantras which are there, they have powerful mantras by which one can create many things. One can cause trouble, one can do some yajna sacrifices. If one's senses are not controlled, if one is not in goodness, if one is not aligned with the Vedic literature, like terrorism, there are a lot of atom bombs and guns and everything. If it goes in hands of some terrorist, he can create so much havoc. Similarly, same with Vedic knowledge also. That is the reason this qualification is told that they should be Vijas or Brahmanas. But that basically indicates not the caste, but the qualification. So he is telling like this. That is Prabhupada mentions in the beginning, Shudra is forbidden to take lessons. Please read Mataji.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A Shudra is forbidden to take lessons from the Vedas because a Shudra, due to his unclean habits, is not worthy to hear such instructions. This restriction that unless one has acquired the Brahmanical qualifications, one should not read the Vedic literatures is like the restriction that a law student should not enter a law college unless he has been graduated from all lower grades. According to the estimation of Daksha, Shiva was unclean in habits and not worthy to have the hand of his daughter Sati, who was so enlightened, beautiful, and chaste. The word used in this connection is Bhinasitva, which refers to one who has broken all the regulations for good behavior by not following the Vedic principles. In other words, according to Daksha, the entire transaction of the marriage of his daughter with Shiva was not in order.
And who did it? His father Brahma only organized it. That means he's questioning the incredibility and influence of his own father Brahma. Pretavasheshu Goreshu. Yes, Prabhu. Shikumar.
Sorry, Prabhu. If you want to read that sloka, you can, or should I ask?
Which one?
Should I ask the question, or you want to read that?
Yeah, you can ask.
So it is said in the purport, unless one has acquired the Brahmanical qualification, one should not read the Vedic scriptures. So what is our qualification? We are reading the scriptures then.
Oh, here. So basically here, the Vedic knowledge, what is our qualification? Our qualification mercy.
Because once I was asking to one devotee, he said, yes, we are not pure, we are not qualified. But when we read, we become pure and then we become qualified.
Yeah, that is one answer. The answer is when speaking about Vedas, Brahmanical qualification, as you asked the previous question, hardly anyone knows the subject of Vedas. Vedas is where Aham Vedo, Vedantiprit, Vedavit, Vedacha. When it comes to impersonalists, Dvivedis, Chaturvedis approaching Vedas with the impersonalist conception, there are a lot of rules and regulations if you want to enter into that Vedic things. And if they do some mistake also, the punishment is also as amazing. Because the purpose of Vedas is not to become a sense-controlled sage or to become a yogi and get some powers. That is not the goal of Vedas is to try to come to the point of serving Krishna. So therefore, in our case, we have understood the goal of Vedas theoretically. And we are trying to read Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam, that Vedic study which is mentioned, which is not only, it's not for Shudras, it's only for Brahmanas. That is the normal jnana, which is meant for Vedic sacrifices, where they need to have all those qualifications. But here, in our case, this Vedic study is also the part of Navida Bhakti. So we're not approaching Vedas like the way Brahmanas approach to Vedic literature. So for us, this is Bhakti Shastras. And by reading this, we will increase our bhakti. That is the reason. And we are, and Bhaktomi Saka Cheti. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, because you are a Bhakta and you are my Saka, therefore I am revealing this knowledge. And Prabhupada writes in the beginning of Spirit of Bhagavad Gita, therefore, to read the Bhagavad Gita in literature, one should at least theoretically accept Krishna as Supreme Person God, and that is only qualification. The spirit of entering into Bhakti Sutras is we should accept Krishna as Supreme Person God. That is the difference. Yes, Subhalakshmi Matan. On the other hand, when the Brahmanas their approach is for name, going to heaven and controlling the senses, are mystics in these, and where little bit one mistake happens, there's a big side effect. They can create havoc in the society. Like Lord Ram killing that Shudra was trying to read Vedas. Why? Because of that only. His approach was not because of bhakti, but for some other thing. Ekalever trying to learn Dronacharya to cut his finger. Yes, Mataji, please.
To this, the restriction is that because it should not be misused. And the Vedic knowledge should not be misused. Although we don't have the Brahminical qualification, but we are under a proper guidance. And Prabhupada has also written purpose. And if Prabhupada did not want us to read only, then he would not have written only these books. So he has written for us to read. So we have to read. And we should read.
Yeah, they're Bhakti Shastras. So Bhakti Shastras are pure Bhakti. प्रेतवासेषु घोरेषु प्रेतेर्भूतगणैर्वृता अतति उन्मत्तवं लग्नो युक्तोकेषु हसन्वृतान् चित्तभस्माकृतस्नान प्रेतस्रान् रस्ति भूषण शिवापदेशो हि अशिवो मतो मत्तज्जनप्रिया पतिप्रमत्तनाथानां तमोमत्रात्मकात्मनाम्.
Translation: He lives in filthy places like crematoriums, and his companions are the ghosts and demons. Naked like a madman, sometimes laughing and sometimes crying, he smears crematorium ashes all over his body. He doesn't bathe regularly, and he ornaments his body with a garland of skulls and bones. Therefore, only in name is he Shiva or auspicious. Actually, he is the most mad and inauspicious creature. Thus, he is very dear to crazy beings in the gross mode of ignorance, and he is their leader. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who don't regularly bathe are supposed to be in association with ghosts and crazy creatures. Lord Shiva appeared to be like that, but his name Shiva is actually fitting, for he is very kind to persons who are in the darkness of the mode of ignorance, such as unclean drunkards who do not regularly bathe. Lord Shiva is so kind that he gives shelter to such creatures and gradually elevates them to spiritual consciousness. Although it is very difficult to raise such a creature to spiritual understanding, Lord Shiva takes charge of them, and therefore, as stated in the Vedas, Lord Shiva is all auspicious. Thus, by his association, even such fallen souls can be elevated. Sometimes it is seen that great personalities meet with fallen souls, not for any personal interest, but for the benefit of those souls. In the creation of the Lord, there are different kinds of living creatures. Some of them are in the mode of goodness, some are in the mode of passion, and some are in the mode of ignorance. Lord Vishnu takes charge of persons who are advanced Krishna conscious Vaishnavas, and the Lord Brahma takes charge of persons who are very much attached to material activities. But Lord Shiva is so kind that he takes charge of persons who are in gross ignorance and whose behavior is lower than that of the animals. Therefore, Lord Shiva is specially called auspicious.
Yeah, this is what I was quoting when you asked this question. So he's only, although he is supposed to take off ignorance, but still Lord Shiva even gives Rudra Gita to Prachetas He has opened a Rudra Sampradaya and he is Vaishnava Natashambhu. Therefore, he is Charachara Guru. He can guide everyone. Tasma Unmadanataya Nashta Sauchaya Durbrute Dattapata Maya Sadvi Chodite Parameshtina. Yes.
Prabhuji, so,
Yes, Mataji. What is the question?
Prabhuji, Rishi Kumar Das here. Okay, Yashika Masiji can ask, then I will ask.
I think she's unknowingly pressed the button.
No, Prabhuji, I have a question.
हाँ.
प्रभु जी एक्चुअली यहाँ पे जैसे बोला है कि लॉर्ड शिवा मतलब इग्नोरेंस और उसमें जो होते हैं मतलब बहुत ही इग्नोरेंट पर्सन्स हैं उनके लिए मतलब उनका चार्ज ले लेते हैं। तो लाइक जैसे जो चैतन्य महाप्रभु हैं वो भी मतलब उन्हीं का ही चार्ज ले रहे हैं, तो वो तो मतलब कृष्णा के ही मतलब तो फिर मतलब
So Chaitanya
दोनों ही
Mahaprabhu, yeah, like Lord Shiva is compassionate, na? He's a Vaishnava, correct? What I told him initially, Lord Shiva is a Bhutanath, he's a Vaishnava, and is origin of Rudra Sampradaya. And why Lord Shiva is taking that position? To bring those whom Lord Vishnu cannot bring. Yes. So it's taken a mode of Vaishnava. And who is Lord Chaitanya? He has taken whose mode? Lord Krishna taking mode of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, he is compassionate. And therefore, he wants everybody of the Kali Yuga to come and take up. So that is the mode of a Vaishnava, or the topmost Vaishnava Srimati Radharani, that this bhakti should be accepted by everyone. So therefore, he's freely giving it. He's become Namo Mahavadanya. So that is a mode. Lord takes a mode of a Vaishnava, Srimati Radharani, topmost Vaishnava. So therefore, he's openly spreading. So therefore, if you understand these principles very clearly, then we can understand it's not only Lord Shiva's ignorance, but also he's taking up that mode because he wants to serve Lord Vishnu. Because that is the greatest work, welfare activity Lord Shiva is doing. But here Daksha is chastising for that. Yes, Rishi Kumar.
Prabhu, this here it is said that Brahmaji is one who takes the charge of who was attached to these material activities, which means giving blessings to all those who wants to be in material world. But actually, we don't see any worship or even karma kandis of Brahmins. If you go or Jyotishi, he will not even recommend any tapasya or puja or nam jap or any yagya for Brahmaji. I think there is some story in this connection where there is Brahmaji's no temple is there only except one temple in Pushkar. So can you just highlight something to on that matter?
How it is, I have heard about it, but this section comes in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is not referring to the Brahma of this world, because the Brahma of this our world is a pure devotee. So that happened in Swayambhu Manu, that pastime, where Brahma is running after the walk, his own daughter. And suddenly he realizes what he has done is wrong. And then the Marichi and some other people are laughing at him, sons of Marichi. And because of that laughing, they become cursed, and they have to appear as son of Hiranyakashipu. And there again they are cursed. They appear as son of Kalnemi. They are cursed. They are killed by own Hiranyakashipu and Kalnemi. Appear as Kamsa. They are killed by him. And then when Vasudeva and Devaki, they want to, when they understand the omnipotent potency of Lord Krishna, then they request, can you bring the 6 sons back? So by that time, Krishna has drunk the milk, and Krishna brings them from the Yamaraj, and they feed the Mahaprasad, and then they get delivered. That is how it happens. So there that incident comes where Brahma is doing some activity. He is also is under the mode of passion, and he is trying to enjoy his own daughter. So that is what, because of that, one reason why he is not worshipped. That is what I heard. But the present Brahma of this Kalpa, which we are coming Sampradaya, he is a pure devotee, because that pastime happened in some other Kalpa, not in this Kalpa, not in this Manvantara.
Okay.
In the first.
Why there is no worship for Brahmaji in terms of even Karma Kanda section there is? I have not heard at least.
Yeah, might be because of this reason.
Okay, is it because of this reason?
Yes, because of this reason. That is what this is only one pastime which comes in third canto. Therefore, the worship of Brahmaji is not mentioned anywhere much.
And therefore, the temples are also not there. Huh?
Yes.
So how it is said that he is now taking the charge of the people who are in passion? Then how do we understand that? Or through his representatives in terms of various demigods, they worship and then they get fruitive activities and they remain in material world. Should we take it that way?
Yeah, basically Asuras, whenever you see in the whole Bhagavatam, Asuras, they are worshipping Brahma.
Brahma and Shiva both.
Ignorant like Vrakasura is worshipping Shiva. People who are in passion are worshipping Brahma, Hiranyakashipu, you see Ravana. They're all passionate people, Asuras.
Great, great. Thank you.
Yes, translation.
Yes, Prabhuji. On On the request of Lord Brahma, I handed over my chaste daughter to him. Although he is devoid of all cleanliness and his heart is filled with nasty things.
So basically, see what can I understand? He's even doubting his father. He's speaking about the open assembly. The guest chief is taking the permission sitting and he's now telling Brahma, because Brahma handed my daughter to my. So he's not telling Brahma as my father. He's telling Brahma as Parameshti. He's not telling him as father. You can read this purport. Purport mentions nicely. Yes.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is the duty of the parents to hand over their daughters to suitable persons, just befitting their family tradition in cleanliness, gentle behavior, wealth, social position, etc. Daksha was repentant that on the request of Brahma, who was his father, he had handed over his daughter to a person who, according to his calculation, was nasty. He was so angry that he didn't acknowledge that the request was from his father. Instead, he referred to Brahma as a Parameshti, the supreme teacher in the universe, because of his temperament of gross anger. He was not even prepared to accept Brahma as his father. In other words, he accused even Brahma of being less intelligent because he had advised Daksha to hand over his beautiful daughter to such a nasty fellow. In anger, one forgets everything, and thus Daksha, in anger, not only accused the great Lord Shiva, but criticized his own father, Lord Brahma, for his not very astute advice that Daksha hand over his daughter to the Lord Shiva.
And as soon as we think we are qualified, we are much more intelligent, much more smart. Basically, the root is not grounded that we are servants. Then what happens is when accomplishment comes, or when we know, so then what happens? Slowly the pride comes, and the pride goes to that extent that one goes to even offend great personalities also, and then we justify how is right. Maitri Vacha Vinidaivam Sagirisham Apraptipam Avasthitam Daksho Atapa Upasprashya Ruddha Saptum Prachakrame. I think someone has to read. I think 15, 16 is done. Yes. Parmeshwari Mataji, can you read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. The sage Maitreya continued. Thus, Daksha, seeing Lord Shiva sitting as if against him, washed his hands and mouth and cursed him in the following words.
What he did basically washed his hands and mouth. Prabhupada is writing like that. But Chakravarti mentions sipping water. Basically did Achman and he was trying to curse. They basically what they do Achman to curse. Purify the mind and then they utter the curse. So therefore his sipping water began to curse. Purifying his shredding Achman for cursing. So everybody is saying that is cursing. Everybody is telling don't stop. Ayam tu deva yajana Indra Upendra Adibir Bhava Sahabhagam Nalabhattam Deva Ganadamam. What is cursing? Ayam tu Deva Yajana. Whenever there is sacrifice for the demigods, where there is Indra, Upendra, Adibir, Bhava, O Shiva, Sahabhagam Na Labhatam. O Shiva, you should not get any part of this offer sacrifice. Deva Ganadhanam. Because you are, although you are among the demigods, you are the Deva Gana Adama. You are the worst among the demigods. This is what he is trying to This is a curse which he is uttering. Yes, Mataji, please read.
Yes, the demigods are eligible to share in the oblations of sacrifice. But Lord Shiva, who was the lowest of all the demigods, should not have a share.
This is his curse. This is not true. This is his cursing. So Vishnu Chakur Thakur mentions here very nicely. This curse can also be taken as praise, because whenever Vaishnavas go for a party or they want to go for some wedding ceremonies, for materialistic places, there they get onion, garlic, this, that, everything. But they will tell, okay, they will not take anything. So Lord Shiva is a Vaishnava, and these are all other demigods. They are not Vaishnavas. Prabhupada mentions they're like materialist. They are in lower position. Here, Vishnu Chakravarti is not mentioned like materialist. Actually, they are lower position. At the sacrifice, he should not receive a share along with the devatas, because devatas are lower than he. One should not eat with those who are in lower position. Therefore, he will receive his share simply by let them eat, since he is famous as the nourisher of all beings. So whenever we go to a place where we cannot eat, which we are supposed to eat, then we tell, okay, we tell Hare Krishna, and then we should come back. And we tell, okay, we send someone to it, or allow someone else to it. If somebody is going with some other person who is not a devotee, but he will go and ask him, okay, go and eat and come, I'm sending you. So that is what Prabhupada openly writes in his purport here. Same thing what Chakravarti was mentioning. So Chakravarti Path is mentioning in a small thing what is the mood of Daksha's cursing Shiva, and how that cursing is a boon for Lord Shiva. Prabhupada mentions here in this yellow highlighted. Mataji, can you read this one?
Yes, Prabhuji. Because of this curse, Shiva was deprived of his share in the oblations, sacrifices. It was due to the curse of Daksha. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti comments in this connection that Lord Shiva was saved from the calamity of taking part with other demigods, who were all materialistic. Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it is not fitting for him to eat or sit with materialistic persons like the demigods. Thus, the curse of Daksha was indirectly blessings for Shiva, would not have to eat or sit with other demigods who were too materialistic.
And now Prabhupada quotes a very classic example of his Param Guru. Prabhupada's Guru is Bhakti Vaibhava Maharaj, and he's quoting out Gaur Kishore Das Baji Maharaj. Because many materialists used to come to Gaur Kishore Das Baji Maharaj because he's a very Siddha Purusha. Babaji Maharaj humko ye do. If you have seen the Abhay serial, there you can see in the first 2 episodes, Babaji Maharaj, they keep on coming and asking him so many blessings. And therefore he used to sit in latrine and chant Hare Krishna to avoid the company of materialistic person. And that place was filled with filth and obnoxious smell. But Gaur Kishore Das Baji Maharaj was in a different atmosphere. So he's quoting Prabhupada there last. Can you read this, Mataji? The conclusion is that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Ek minute. Where is it?
Last line. Conclusion.
Yeah. The conclusion is that Lord Shiva behaved in his own way to avoid materialistic persons who might disturb him in his precaution of
devotional service. Prosecution of devotional service. Like Gaur Kishore Das Baji Maharaj wanted to avoid materialist. He used to go and sit in some place and in a very filthy place to avoid the materialist. Similarly, the Lord Shiva, he behaved in that way. Basically, Lord Shiva was completely absorbed in Lord Vishnu's remembrance. Even if he's not getting up or he's not greeting Daksha, nothing on his part. But Lord Shiva is silent here. He's not doing anything. He's not cursing, because he's just behaving so that let me avoid the materialistic person who might disturb him in his prosecution of devotional service. It will become, let me be peacefully execute my bhakti. Let me not get into all this oblation and accepting the sacrifices, because it's a trouble for a devotee who's a pure devotee for accepting all these things. Vishidyamana sadasya mukhe daksho giritraya vishrujya sapam tasmad vinishkramya vivriddha manyur jagam kauravya nijam niketanam. Maitreya now. Maitreya is again narrating. Yes, Mother, please read.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, in spite of all the requests of all the members of the sacrificial assembly, Daksha is in great anger, cursed Lord Shiva, and then left the assembly and went back to his home.
Yeah. So Chakravarti Pal saying, I do not see anyone except myself who has intelligence. He left in anger, thinking I should not stay in an assembly of such irreligious people. Daksha is still, Brahma is there, Shiva is there, all the Brahmanas are sitting, everybody is there, and all the 49 Agnis, children, and all, everybody has come. And this is Vishnu Yagya, and he's thinking it's an unqualified place and he's going back. How much angry has become? Prabhupada gives here a very important lesson for all sadhakas, especially when we are in ISKCON, when we do management, when we work with devotees, and most of the time what happens is, yeah, slowly the same. This is happening in that assembly of, Daksha is also Vaishnava there. He's also worshipping Vishnu, he's worshipping the whole Bhagavatam speaks about all kind of Vaishnavas who are tainted by ignorance, Vaishnavas who are tainted by passion, Vaishnavas who are tainted by goodness, and how we should, the journey from ignorance to passion to goodness and Suddha how we can come. Just by reading Bhagavatam, we can just, it's like a mirror for us. Like in Darshanarti, the pujaris dress and show mirror to Lord Krishna, Radharani, Jagannath, Balsubhadra, Gauranitai. This is how they are dressed. So same, when we read Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, it also shows we don't have to experience through these activities by in our own circle of mind and other things. We can just read this Daksha section and understand what I should not do. So the way the Shastra shows the mirror and what we should not do and how we should overcome that thing. So that is what Prabhupada giving the purport here. Mataji, can you please read this one? Anger is so detrimental.
Yes, Prabhuji. Anger is so detrimental that even a great personality like Daksha, out of anger, left the arena where Brahma was presiding, and all the great sages and pious and saintly persons were assembled. All of them requested him not to leave, but infuriated, he left, thinking that the auspicious place was not fit for him. Puffed up by his exalted position, he thought that no one was greater than he. In arguments, it appears that all the members of the assembly, including Lord Brahma, requested him not to be angry and leave their company. But in spite of all these requests, he left. That is the effect of cruel anger. In Bhagavad Gita, therefore, it is advised that one who desires to make tangible advancement in spiritual consciousness must avoid three things: lust, anger, and the mode of passion. Actually, we can see that lust, anger, and passion make a man crazy, even though he be as great as Daksha. The very name Daksha suggests that he was expert in all material activities, but still, because of his aversion towards such a saintly personality as Shiva, he was attacked by these three enemies: anger, lust, and passion. Lord Chaitanya therefore advised that one be very careful not to offend Vaishnavas. He compared offenses toward a Vaishnava to a mad elephant. As a mad elephant can do anything horrible, when a person offends a Vaishnava, he can perform any abominable activities.
Yes. So this is a guard for us. When you stay in the group of Vaishnavas, anger is the beginning stage. When we think nobody can understand me, nobody can argue like me, and so it's very important that we follow etiquettes. Vaishnava etiquettes can protect us from this kind of things, and also by reading section and understanding how this great personality also can succumb. So what to speak of us? So we should be very, very careful. That is the reason we have to read Prabhupada books so regularly and seriously. Vidnyaya Shapam Girishan Agagrane Nandishwaro Roshakashaya Dushita Dakshaya Shapam Vishasarja Durunam Ye Chanvo Modam Stad Avachatyam Vijaha. So now Daksha has cursed Lord Shiva and he has gone. He will not accept any oblations, which is a boon for Lord Shiva. And reason for that was Daksha's anger, lust, anger, passion, and he committed a Vaishnava. So now, as a subordinate, Nandi comes. How can he tolerate his superior being chastised or cursed. So Nandishwar comes. But Prabhupada says, okay, you can curse Daksha, but why are cursing other Brahmanas? Cursing, counter cursing, then it starts. So one has to be very, very, very careful. Very important. Yes, somebody else can read. I think we have 15 minutes left. Mataji will ask others also read who are present so that they also get a chance to read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yes. So who would like to read?
Yeah, Prabhu, I will read.
Yeah, please read.
Now, upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandishwar, one of the Lord Shiva's principal associates, became greatly angry. His eyes became red, and he prepared to curse Daksha and all the Brahmanas present there who had tolerated Daksha's cursing Shiva in harsh words.
So we are here basically contaminated the ointment of anger. Nandishwar also become angry now. And this anger is not very, this anger is not also justified much because this is out of anger for a superior's disrespect. But is also this anger is uncontrolled. Therefore, Prabhupada writes here. You can read this here. Yes, Prabhupada. This is a long-standing dissension.
There is a long-standing dissension among some of the neophyte Vaishnavas and Shaivites. They are always at loggerheads. When Daksha cursed Lord Shiva in harsh words, some of the Brahmanas present might have enjoyed it because some Brahmanas do not very much admire Lord Shiva. This is due to their ignorance of Lord Shiva's position. Nandishwar was affected by the cursing, but he did not follow the example of Lord Shiva, who was also present there. Although Lord Shiva could also have cursed Daksha in similar way, he was silent and tolerant. But Nandishwara, his follower, was not tolerant. Of course, as a follower, it was right for him not to tolerate an insult to his master, but he should not have cursed the Brahmanas who were present. The entire issue was so complicated that those who were not strong enough forgot their positions, and thus cursing and counter cursing went on that great assembly. In other words, the material field is so unsteady that even personalities like Nandishwara, Daksha, and many other Brahmanas present were infected by the atmosphere of anger.
Yeah. So therefore, as devotees, if you want to become well-wisher of a community, it's very important for us to create an atmosphere in such a way that we might be very strong in our practice. If that is the case, okay, I'll not. But what example this will set for others? Because Prabhupada writing the entire issue was so complicated that those who were not strong enough forgot their position. They got into passion, ignorance, and just cursing and counter cursing went on in this great assembly. Shiva was sitting there peacefully. He's undisturbed. Daksha was having problem. He cursed and went. Vaishnava Parat हो गया. लेकिन वो वैष्णव परत का सीड कैसे हो रहा है? Those people who are weak, they also started coming, cursing, counter cursing, and it went out of the whole thing. So therefore, the entire atmosphere was infected. So it's very important that we take very nice lessons from this. What the lesson should take? Anger is very, very is very dangerous. Because of the anger is okay, he is doing it for his master, but why Brahmana? Daksha did, but Brahmana उसमें क्या करना चाहिए? But again, Prabhupada is telling, by default there is some Brahmanas who only accept Vishnu, there are some people who accept only Shiva. So that Shaiva, neophyte Shaivas, Shiva devotees of Lord Shiva, neophyte devotees of Lord Vishnu, they fight for anything without understanding how the goal of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu is same. He is to deliver the living entities from cycle of birth and death. And that is they are together. They are tag team partners. So Lord Shiva takes up that role as Bhutanath to bring those living entities who cannot, whom cannot be approached by Lord Vishnu. Because Vishnu is in goodness. So Lord Shiva does it on the behalf of Lord Vishnu. If people don't understand it, then they keep on fighting, cursing, counter cursing, that will go on. Ya etam martyam udisya bhagavati अप्रतिद्रुही ध्रुयति अग्नि प्रतगदृष्टे तत्वतो विमुखो भवेत्.
Okay. Anyone who has accepted Daksha.
Now onwards here, Nandishwara is cursing Daksha. 3 curses he gives for Daksha, and some more 4-5 curses he gives for the Brahmanas. That is what will come now next, from 21 to 35. And then Bhrigu Muni starts cursing, by counter cursing Shiva followers. And it comes to the point that Janardana comes, conclusion of the Vedas is Lord Vishnu. So Lord Shiva understands Vishnu's name has come now, Janardana's name has come now. If I don't go right now, then this Nandi will start cursing, my followers will start cursing Lord Janardana also. Therefore, just gets up and leaves the place. That is how the chapter ends. Yes, please read.
Yeah. Anyone who has accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because of envy is less intelligent, and because of visualizing duality will be bereft of transcendental knowledge.
So accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because of envy is less intelligent because of visualizing in duality will be better. Basically, what is trying is Daksha was in a bodily conception of life, and because of that, see Chakravarti's translation will make it. He who identifying with the mortal body offends Shiva, who is non-violent, will become a fool, seeing in terms of different bodies and rejecting the Supreme Lord. So here, 3 verses explain his curse of Daksha. He who identifies the body subject to death, hates Shiva, will become ignorant. That ignorant person further explained, he sees in terms of different living beings such as both children and wife, will be opposed to the Lord Tattvata. This is the first curse for Daksha. Basically, he will be bodily concept of life and he will not get the mercy of Lord, Supreme Lord Hari. Purport, you can read the purport.
Yeah. The first curse by Nandishwara was that anyone supporting Daksha was foolishly identifying himself with the body, and therefore, because Daksha had no transcendental knowledge, supporting him would deprive one of the transcendental knowledge. Daksha, Nandishwar said, identified himself with the body like other materialistic persons and was trying to derive all kinds of facilities in relationship with the body. He had excessive attachment for the body and relation to the body with wife, children, home, and other such things which are different from the soul. Therefore, Nandishwara's curse was anyone who supported Daksha would be bereft of transcendental knowledge of the soul and thus also be deprived of knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Basically, this also we can see as anybody who offends a Vaishnava, he gets this result. The transcendental knowledge of the soul, he comes in bodily consumption of life, and he gets into sense gratification. The first curse which is given to Daksha. Second curse, Griheshu Puta Dharmeshu Shakto Gramya Sukechaya Karmatantram Vitvanute Vedavada Vipanadhya.
Potentially religious householder's life in which one is attracted to material happiness and also attracted to the superficial expression of Vedas, rob ones of all intelligence and attaches one to fruitive activities as all in all.
Yeah, basically the goal of Vedas is Lord Vishnu, but one does it for sense gratification, going to heaven, and attachment to fruitive karma kanda. That is one of totally absorbed in karma kanda. That person attached to cheating rules of household life, a desire for material happiness, influence spoiled by misleading followers of Vedas, will become totally absorbed in karma kanda. Here, Nandishwar is speaking not about the Bhakti Sutras, but he's speaking about the Karma Kanda, that section of the Vedic literature. He is trying to speak, but that is also part of the Vedas, and Vedas coming from Lord Vishnu himself. So, this is how that he's cursing Daksha, that the Prajapati will only be attached to this Karma Kanda section, but will not realize the conclusion of the Vedic literature. Purport.
Persons who identify with bodily existence are attached to the fruitive activities described by the Vedic literature. For example, in the Vedas, it is said that one who observes the Chaturmasya will attain eternal happiness in the heavenly kingdom. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that this flowery language of the Vedas mostly attracts persons who identify with the body. To them, such happiness as that of the heavenly kingdom is everything. They do not know that beyond that is the spiritual kingdom or kingdom of God, and they have no knowledge that one can go there. Thus, they are bereft of transcendental knowledge. Such persons are very careful in observing the rules and regulations of household life in order to be promoted in the next step to the moon or other heavenly planets. It is stated here that such persons are attached to Gram Sukha, which means material happiness, without knowledge of eternal blissful and spiritual life.
Yeah, basically, the purpose of Vedas should lead them to back to Godhead, but we have seen some personalities, kitna bhi kuch bhi karo, they will do ritual only for the material benefit. This is one of the curse. So here, Vishwan Chakravarti Thakur writes, what is this flowery Vedas? I've highlighted here, not down. Bhagavad said that his flowery language of the Vedas mostly attract persons who identify the body. What is that flowery language? He says, what is flower? flower, its fragrance and its charm, both are temporary. Vishnu Chandra Thakur writes. I think I have just removed that section. But here is quoting that Akshayam ha vai chaturmase yajina sukrutam bhavati. Perform 4 months of austerity achieved immortality. What is immortality? This is not back to Godhead. This is going to heavenly planet. But here in somewhere, he mentions about this flowery language. What is the problem with flowery language? Why it is called as flowery language? A flower's fragrance and its form. The flower within one day, big rose flower, it becomes like मुरझा जाता है. और उसका फ्रेग्रेंस भी कुछ अगर रोज रहेगा 1-2 दिन रहता है, बट इट्स टेम्पररी. सिमिलरली द बेनिफिट ऑफ दिस 3 modes of nature Vedas of karma kanda is also temporary like the flower. Kuch, it is not permanent, it's temporary. That is the meaning of flowery language. I think you have read in this section only, but it's not coming. I'm not able to see it here.
Babuji, this was a wonderful explanation of flowery. I mean to say, I never thought of this explanation that this is the meaning of the flowery results, whatever we say. Very perfect. You said that it is blissful, it is tasty, it is fragrant, but it is temporary.
Yeah, Chakravarti was mentioning it. In this section only I read it. That is the reason I highlighted that.
Very powerful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Buddhya paribhidya vishmratatma gati pashu Strikamaso stav atitanam daksho vashta mukhachirat. Yes. Next.
Daksha has accepted the body as all in all. Therefore, since he has forgotten the Vishnu path or Vishnu Gati and attached to sex life only, within a short time he will have the face of a goat.
Yeah. So that will happen now. Veerbhadra will come, cut his head, and will get. Yes. Vidya buddhira vidyayam karmamayam asojada samsarantav iha ye chamum anusarva vamaninam.
Those who have become as dull as matter by cultivating materialistic education and intelligence are recently involved in spiritual activities. Such men have purposely inserted Lord Shiva. May they continue in the cycle of repeated birth and death.
Yeah. The curse is suitable because it takes ignorance in the form of karma as knowledge and is foolish. Let those who follow Daksha, who insulted Shiva, take it. These curses are for those. Now, after adding these curses, he is cursing the members, Brahmanas, who just kept quiet. For providing purport. You can read the purport too.
This goat, this is the third.
Third curse.
So first was that
First word was
transcendental knowledge. Second
was attracted to the flowery language, karma kanda.
Okay.
Third is goated.
Thank you.
They will not accept Lord Vishnu, but they'll accept karma kanda section. That is the second, and third is they'll get the goated. You will get the goated. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So purport kafi. Which one? This one, na Prabhuji? Three curses.
The 3 curses mentioned above are sufficient to make one as dull as stone, void of spiritual knowledge, and preoccupied with materialistic education, which is nuisance. After attaining these curses, Nandishwara then cursed the Brahmanas to continue the cycle of birth and death because of their supporting Daksha in blaspheming Lord Shiva.
Okay. So these are the 3 curses. What are those? I'll just show the PPT now. What we just saw. We'll just recap. So what we have discussed till now?
So Nandeshwara is an Vaishnava. I mean to say, obviously he's a following Vaishnava, so he's Vaishnava. But he's an Bhuta. How it is? What is his position?
He is Nandi. He is a carrier of Lord Shiva.
No, so previous life he was a demon, right?
No, no idea. Sorry.
Because we hear that, Lord Shiva gave him the blessing that, you become my carrier servant. So, no, so I mean to say he was a ghost or something like that, demon or something like that.
I have not read the history. I have not read about him.
But he is so knowledgeful, right? He's
Uh,
giving that curse that maybe you attach to material world and flowery language of Vedas, which means he knows the higher purpose of the life. That's it.
because he's associating with Lord Shiva.
Yeah,
Like,
that's obviously
yes, Sadhu Sangha.
powerful. Yeah.
Yes. So here, if you can see what all things are happening now. Here, Shiva is similar. These are the curses which he gave. One curse he gave us, he should not accept oblations, which become a boon for Lord Shiva. Now, these are his negativities, which we saw how Saraswati is glorifying it. These are the curse. But still he became angry and went. And curse on Daksha. Become a fool, seeing in terms of body. This is second. Reject the Supreme Lord and become absorbed in karma kanda. This together second. Take the head of a goat. So three. Till now we have seen this. Now curses Daksha followers. Now we start taking repeat birth and become complete as become discriminating. Take vows and austerities only for maintaining the body. Only have this enjoyment of wealth and body. Basically, all these things if you see in the present day Brahmanas are so-called people who worship. Matlab, in Kali Yuga, or after this whole thing, in future it is going to come. They worship Lord Vishnu, but they will become attached to these things. Only have enjoyment of wealth and body senses, take vows to do austerity only for maintaining the body. Basically, these Brahmanas were the followers of Daksha, who was a Vishnu Vaishnava. And Nandi is cursing them. And these are symptoms which we can see now in present society, where people may have also, they might be accustomed to worshiping Lord Vishnu in the home, but they not come to the conclusion that Krishna has to be worshipped, I should practice bhakti. On the other hand, if you see, the Bhrigu starts cursing because they are speaking against the Vedic literature. Bhrigu starts cursing to the Shiva followers. Become atheist, become obstacle to genuine scripture, become addicted to intoxication. Or Lord Shiva took poison. Now all these people also start taking Datura and all those things. Take shelter of heretical views. So they didn't follow anything. All these things Prabhupada is going to mention the purports. Now, because they criticize Brahmanas and Vedas, the subject matter is Lord Janardana. He comes here. So therefore, Lord Shiva left with his followers. Because Lord Vishnu's goal of Vedas is Lord Vishnu. Now Vishnu का नाम है अभी इसके बाद अपने लोग विष्णु को भी नहीं छोड़ेंगे इसलिए Lord Shiva gets up and goes. And other people, they perform the sacrifice for 1,000 years. And then Prabhupada writes, Shiva is not there, Brahma is not there, Daksha has left. So demigod से कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. But the yajna was for Vishnu. And the devotees did the Vishnu sacrifice and that was fulfilled. And then Prabhupada writes about demigod worship and how if we worship Vishnu, there is no need of separately worshiping any demigod. This is how this chapter ends. So further sections of this chapter is very important. We'll continue it in the next week. Anybody has any comments? Any queries or you want to speak something? Yes. We officially end here. Somebody wants to leave, we can leave. Somebody has questions, you can stay. Yes. Yes, Shika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, what is the significance of head of a goat?
What is significance of?
Head of a goat.
Very good question. Basically, if you read that section, second curse which is attaining, where Daksha, Nandishvara is offering to Daksha, he should be very attached to materialistic enjoyment of sex life and karma sexual. So in the 9th canto of Bhagavatam also we see that Pururava, not Pururava, their Sarmishta, Devyani, they are approaching one king, I'm forgetting his king, Yayati. So there, Yayati Maharaj and Devyani and Sarmishta, basically there is is attached to both of them on the bodily conception of life for enjoyment. There he gives an analogy of he goat and she goat. Because basically sense enjoyment the bodily platform. Because of that, it's ignorant, become like animal. You are muted.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have one more question that I will ask in the end.
I think you're muted.
प्रभुजी मेरा एक और क्वेश्चन है, मैं लास्ट में पूछूंगी
Yes.
अभी। सेकंड क्वेश्चन भी पूछ लो फिर।
हाँ.
Okay, Prabhuji, actually my second question is based on the current situation that is going on. मतलब अभी जैसे अभी मतलब अभी जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं उसका भी मतलब जो टॉप हेट्रेड और एंगर वगैरह है। तो प्रभु जी लाइक जैसे हम ना मतलब मॉर्निंग में जाते हैं मतलब संकीर्तन में, तो वहां पे ना हमें कुछ मुस्लिम्स भी मिलते हैं, मतलब तो हम उनको प्रसादम के लिए बोलते हैं कि मतलब आप प्रसाद ले लीजिए, भगवान के दर्शन कर लीजिए। तो दे आर लाइक मतलब वो हमें ऐसे दिखते हैं जैसे क्या हो मतलब। और ना मतलब अभी हम आसपास भी मतलब हम देखते हैं जैसे कि मतलब सिचुएशन बहुत बिगड़ रही है, और जो मतलब उनको जो धर्म सिखाया जाना चाहिए मतलब वो धर्म उनको नहीं सिखाया जा रहा, और वो गलत चीजें लर्न कर रहे हैं। और बिल्कुल जैसे आसुरी प्रवृत्ति के लोग हमेशा से करते आए हैं, मतलब वो वही चीजें कर रहे हैं मतलब। और तो प्रभु जी इस सिचुएशन से कैसे डील करें, क्योंकि जो मैंने देखा जो इंडियन मुस्लिम्स है ना, अगर उनको प्रसादम भी देना चाहते हैं ना तो वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते, मतलब इतना ज्यादा लोअर सिचुएशन में मतलब वो गिर गए हैं मतलब।
तो प्रश्न क्या है? Make them accept your
प्रभु जी इसका सॉल्यूशन क्या है? मतलब क्योंकि आगे ना चीजें वर्स्ट ही होती जाएंगी मतलब।
solution very simple. Practice of bhakti is enough. Prabhupada writes in the fourth canto of Bhagavatam. When Dhruv Maharaj was meditating at the end of his fourth month, Lord Narayana entered his heart, and he was seeing Lord Narayana in his heart. And he became so heavy, he pressed the earth. We will discuss in further sections. I or some other speaker will take in 8th chapter. Because of Dhruv Maharaj's meditation, Lord Narayana was already in his heart, but he started realizing it. He became so heavy that he pressed the earth by half a feet, 6 inches down. And by that strength of meditation, all the demigods approached to Lord Vishnu and told, Uva, abhi Dhruv Maharaj ko abhi shant kijiye. That Prabhupada writes, one can have a global influence on the whole world just by practice of spiritual life. And like classic example is Prabhupada. Prabhupada, one devotee practiced and he went to US. The World War I, World War II, in between that. There's so many clips where it mentioned that when Prabhupada went to US and kept his lotus feet in Boston, that was the time a nuclear weapon was being fired for Third World War. But suddenly somehow that person got some good understanding and did not do it. And later on that person happens to become a devotee. And he became a disciple of Indra Maharaj and starts telling that was the same day when Prabhupada went to West. So that same day I got a instruction that I should fire a missile on Russia. But some I don't know what happened, but again order came from the top superior that I should not do it. The clip had recently come by on Prabhupada disciple on last year, Janmashtami and Prabhupada appearance day regarding this. So at our stage, when tiger comes, you will not go and try to tell it take prasad. So dealing with this community people, it's best is we stay away from them. And just focus on our own practice of bhakti and pray. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu is there, Lord Vishnu, Krishna is there in their heart as Paramatma. They will take care of them. This is like for our own safety, I'm telling.
नहीं प्रभु जी वो तो ठीक है मतलब, बट
Okay.
ना हम देखते हैं कि साथ के साथ मतलब वो लोग कन्वर्जन भी करते जा रहे हैं मतलब।
हमारे हाथ में नहीं है ना कुछ, हमारे हाथ में कुछ है। हम क्या कर सकते हैं? हम भक्ति कर सकते हैं और
हाँ।
भक्ति का प्रचार गुडनेस में, कृष्णा कॉन्शियस में कर सकते हैं।
प्रभु जी, और जब हम प्रचार करते हैं तो वी आर सेविंग मेनी पीपल फ्रॉम इग्नोरेंस, एंड दैट इज हाउ दे विल नॉट फॉल प्रे टू रॉन्ग प्रोपेगेंडा। मतलब बहुत लोग उनको दे डोंट नो देयर ओन रिलीजन, दैट्स व्हाई दे बिकम disillusioned and they take up another. But when we preach, then they become attached to our religion. So that is also working on all levels. Preaching helps on all levels.
Yes. So we practice, and also the way Prabhupada has given us the preaching mission, we are just a preaching mission. We preach, we distribute books, We cultivate those who are innocent. Bhakti Charan was telling on past time when he was they were in Paris, Germany. So one Muslim person came. He saw Backward magazine in a hotel. And then after seeing Prabhupada Backward magazine, he came to the temple. And they got to know the Germans were very against Islam. And as soon as he came, they told, it's all right, but we cannot allow you to join here. And he was so smart. He took a dhoti kurta, he took a bead, he took tilak, and wear everything, and he went to a Brahmin temple in Germany from the where he was. He told, I have come from the temple and joined there. And later on, he got initiated from Prabhupada. He became Ravanari Prabhu, and he translated Bhagavad Gita in Arabic. So if somebody is innocent in goodness, they'll surely get attracted to Prabhupada's movement. And like that, so many Muslims are, the Islam people are there from, ISKCON temples all over the world. But how thing is this? Now this mode of passion is activated. Based on that, some movie comes, people become like Hindutva. Some event happens, we become, surely we are citizens of India, we have to take care of ourselves. At the same time, we should understand how Bhakti is a solution for all the problems. Let the Kshatriyas take care of that role of what they have to do with that. But we are Vaishnavas, and we can practice and we can preach the way Prabhupada has given us the preaching movement. Distribute prasadam, distribute Bhagavad Gita, conduct programs. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. We'll end now.
Thank you.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you so much.